What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Too Much Test Podcast, episode 52. Today we're talking about icing our balls, GLP-1 agonist. We're going to talk about a big thing that I almost screwed up that could have cost me a lot of money. And I'm here with my host, Sam Stolt. Sam's awesome. Check out our sponsors, HC Gains, which I'm going to have a new one here soon, and we'll talk about that. Go check out the Triggered brand. Check out all the links in our description, all the stuff that we're associated with. And so Sam, how is it with cold balls? Let us know.
Hey, good to see you. It's been a little while. You had mentioned check out the sponsors if you guys enjoy the show, the hcgains.com and the triggeredbrand.com. Also, leave us a review if you like the content. I was thinking about getting my girlfriend pregnant, and so when you take testosterone or SARMs, and you've been doing that for years, or other gear, it doesn't really, align objective-wise, right, with your actions in life. And so I got my LH and FSH levels checked last week. I could probably pull them up when you're telling your story, because I actually haven't checked the results yet, and it's something I need to do. But
interesting.
LH and FSH levels. So I wanted to test something. I want to see if I can get her pregnant while still being on testosterone 270 milligrams a week, and see, what the effects are. So I've seen, I think, Vigorous Steve, and then there's a guy who does like a lot more biohacking type stuff, but he also does this, and he's talked about it before in his results, and how positive icing your balls has, right? Because you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense, but there's fighters and stuff like this. Like my brother used to tell me about, like, for MMA, they used to do this shit like that. And the idea behind this is like our balls are not like in our body because they need to be at a cooler temperature.
Yeah.
And like I wear boxer briefs, right? Which probably doesn't help because they're slightly like constrictive, or like not boxers at least. And
boxer briefs are the most comfortable underwear in my opinion, but keep going.
Your boxer briefs are by far that's what I have. That's what I do. Boxer briefs are by far the most comfortable underwear, in my opinion.
And I like the plastic, like the nylon ones. I have some ones that are like cloth, and they're just too tight in one particular area. It's uncomfortable, but
yeah. Well, I like the blend. The blend. So I've got like a blend for mine where it's like, I don't know, 20-30% cotton and or like maybe 50% cotton and 50% something else. So they're like stretchy, but they're still cottony, and
that's cool.
They're super duper comfortable. But anyways, so icing your balls, right? So if you have like oxidative stress in your balls from like lifestyle or your diet, sleep, whatever the case is, trauma to your balls, like physical trauma or things like that, you can have damage to your balls. And one thing you can do to help with that is by increasing blood flow. So when you go through and you ice your balls and they get physically cold, and then you take it away, what happens? Your body's like, oh, I want to warm that body part up. So they send fresh blood there, which is, we need the blood for everything we do, right? Like if you don't have blood in your finger dies, right? If you don't have blood in your kidneys or your liver or something like that, that organ will die. If you cut off circulation to your leg, it will die, right? And that's because you're removing all the blood flow to it.
That's how they castrate bulls. My buddy used to work grew up on a dairy thing, and they have a machine where they take this strong ass rubber band and they put it in this machine and it stretches it out. And they just basically take it, put it on the cow's balls, up past the balls, let it go, and the rubber band just constricts the blood flow, and they eventually just fall off.
So if your balls fall off, you're like, that's where you're making testosterone. So these bulls are not actual bulls anymore, right? They're more just like a lot of the men today, right?
Yeah, I don't know exactly why they do that, but yeah, they're like the guys of today.
So I got my testosterone levels checked. I'm sorry, I didn't. I should have got my testosterone levels checked, but I got my FSH and my LH levels checked, and I'm going to pull it up right now. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I want to share this necessarily on the screen.
No, just tell the numbers. How many people hitting you up?
Yeah, so I have LH below normal. Duh. the result is less than 0.3 MIU per ml. And the same thing for FSH. So those are like very low range, very low levels. The range is 1.7 to 8.6 for LH and 1.5 to 12.4 for FSH. So I'm significantly below the range. I'm like 5x below or 6x below the bottom level for LH, and the same thing for FSH, about 5x below that level. So will icing my balls twice per day in 90 days have the effect? Let's actually, what are your thoughts? Do you think that if I'm icing my balls twice a day, by the way, we just filmed another episode and I was icing my balls while we were doing that episode. I got up to go to the bathroom and put the ice pack back in the freezer.
Nice. I don't know. I don't know if icing the balls is going to like overcome, testosterone suppression in the body. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't have any benefit. I just don't know if you're going to be able to overcome that. I mean, you could still get your girl pregnant right now. You don't know that, like nature finds a way sometimes. But I mean, and I guess they've known for a while that if you wear like tighty whities or you wear something that's really constrictive on your balls, is that your sperm count would go down because of the heat, basically. So I mean, you're doing the opposite of the heat. Now I don't know how effective that would be. I mean, I don't think it could hurt unless you go like crazy. But my pool right now is 72 degrees, so I could literally go and basically ice my balls just by swimming at this point.
On a complete tangent, but you mentioned your pool, and I heard this theory the other day, and I was like, oh wow, that makes 100% sense. You know how we in the fitness community, people talk about LISS, like low intensity, steady state cardio, right? LISS.
Yeah.
Or you talk about HIIT, high intensity interval training, right?
Yeah.
And those are two forms of cardio. I like LISS better. And you talk about like whether the elliptical or the Stairmaster or other things like that actually will burn more calories. Like I like walking backwards because that's more effective than walking forwards at burning calories. You burn 40% more at a flat surface, the same speed going either direction, or like double the amount going forwards if you walk at an incline, right? So I like that. And then I heard this the other day, and I haven't confirmed it, but it makes perfect sense. If you swim for your cardio, you'll actually burn way more calories. And it has not to do because you're like, oh, because I'm using my arms, right, for swimming. No, it's because what you just mentioned about the water temperature. Because the water temperature is colder than your body. Your body is trying to stay warm, and so it'll push energy to the surface level of your skin to stay warm while you're doing this. So you actually burn substantially more calories swimming than you would if you did the same exact amount. You don't have to swim like crazy. Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's like, I want to go through and actually do more activity in the water to just have it more of a efficient cardio because of that.
That's pretty cool. That makes sense. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
You were talking about a new business that you're starting before we came on, and how you have a very interesting story that you wanted to share with us.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll just let the cat out of the bag. It's called ultimategymtowel.com, and I also own bestgymtowel.com. And it came from me going into the sauna. So at the gym, when you go in the sauna, the way I was doing it was I was essentially either taking my shirt off, which is a kind of a given either way. But then I was wearing my shorts and my boxers or my boxer briefs when I was in the sauna. And if you've ever been in a sauna, you sweat like a son of a bitch, So I was getting out of the sauna, my pants and my underwear are both soaked with sweat. And then I'm getting into my car and I'm, leaking sweat all over the seats. And then, I work from home, so I would typically take off my gym pants, shower, put them back on, and just wear them while I'm working. And they were damp. So I'm like, shit, I guess I could bring a towel, and then I could wear a towel in the sauna, and I could basically be naked in the sauna. And then I was like, you know what? Let me add some shit to this towel. So I actually took a prototype and I bought Velcro strips and I put Velcro on either side to make it to where you could basically tie it around or Velcro it around your waist. And I was like, this works pretty well. So what else can I do? I said, well, let's put some pockets on it so I can carry my like fat grips. I could carry my lifting straps. I could put my phone, my keys in there. And I was like, fuck it. What else can we put on there? Let's make it hold my water bottle. So long story short, I incorporated all this into a microfiber towel, and they're being made as we speak. But here's where I almost fucked up. So I was putting together the logo and I was putting together all the stuff. This was late at night. I was tired, but I needed to get it done. And right before they start manufacturing them, the girl tells me, she's like, I found big mistake. She's like, you mess up on word. It would have been the Olmatet gym towel because I forgot a T. So I would have had a bunch of these printed and they would have all landed here in the United States and it would have been the Olmet gym towel. So,
oh man. Hey, I just thought of an idea while you're doing that. Is it possible to have a strap, even if it's an aftermarket strap, so that it could actually double as like a gym bag if you have all those pockets?
It's well, I mean, it's possible you could, but the pockets aren't massive. I mean, it's not like you're putting a weight belt in there or something like that. It's going to be like, keys, phone. You could fit fat grips. You could fit lifting straps. And like my idea is that it's not going to replace a gym bag. I mean, if you're one of those guys that's got a gym bag, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still gonna have to bring a gym bag, but if you're just a normal guy like me and you bring an accessory or two once or twice a week and you just want to be able to, carry your phone and put a water bottle in there, it'll work well for you.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought there was going to be like a bunch of pockets.
No, there's two good sized pockets that you there, and then it's got like an elastic, like kind of like mesh material where you could slide your water bottle on, so you could kind of carry that around with you.
Okay, dope. I'm sure we'll be talking about that when we get the prototypes in here. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm
trying to find a bunch of hot chicks that I can get to take pictures of it so I can put it on the website. But I don't want to get divorced over this, and I don't want to pay an agency like $5,000 out of Miami or something. So if you know hot chicks that want a free towel and take pictures, let me know.
Yeah. Okay. So where should people reach out to you?
No, don't really. No, I'll figure it out. Figure it out. We live in Florida. There's lots of hot chicks in Florida. I'll make it happen.
Instagram, test your levels. You can reach out there. You send them a DM over there. He's super active, but you can reach out, test your levels, and help out with the brand on that as well. Interesting. We had talked about GLP-1s.
Oh, just real quick. I just wanted to mention that the elastic or the Velcro, that's the best part of it, that you could literally, if you wanted to, you could put the towel on with your clothes on, pull your pants and your boxers down, and you're going to be in a towel. Where I really don't care. I'll take my pants off at the gym, but I thought that was a cool, discreet thing. And then you can wear the towel in the sauna. You sweat on the towel, you get out, you dry yourself off, put your clothes on, and you're good. So anyway, less shameless plugs.
When you were actually describing this, those like, I feel like there's a shitload of products like that for women, right? Like I feel like there's like something in my mind, and it's like a nice towel-y type material, and it has like little scrunchy on the edges, and women will like carry it over their neck and will fucking like wrap it around their boobs or something. Yeah. Or there's like a towel where it's got Velcro on it, and you like wrap it around. You know how like girls will wear it like around, we just wear it around our waist, and they'll wear it around their chest, right? And it's long enough, generally speaking, to cover up their hips as well. And I feel like there's a boatload of products like that for women. I'm curious to know how the marketing of that's gonna, you know what I mean? Is like, what's the best way to market that? That'll be interesting.
I'm gonna do some videos. I'm gonna do some cool videos, like make like a parody infomercial. Like I'm gonna show a guy like, getting ready to get out of his car and go to the gym, and it's like he'll be like dropping his keys and his protein bottle is gonna roll off, and he's gonna be like, oh my God, this is so confusing and hard. If only I had a towel that had pockets, something like that.
Hey, when you do that, hey, we should do the disc golf, and we'll meet up and I'll help you film that.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, good shit. But we were talking about GLP-1 agonists, And
Yes.
that's what I'm taking is semaglutide. That is in that family. And then, yeah, so we found a study, and I feel like I've been talking a lot, but so I found this today, and it was GLP-1 receptor agonist, which is like semaglutide, tirzepatide, liraglutide. There's this other one that is in here that I've never heard of, but that's like your Ozempic, your Mounjaro. Those are like super popular for diabetes. And it says that they induce growth hormone secretion in healthy volunteers. So I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. I wonder if that's helping contribute to some of the weight loss that people are experiencing. So human growth
That's a good point.
hormone.
That's a really good point, right? So, like the title of this for anybody who's listening, it says GLP-1 receptor agonists induce growth hormone secretion in healthy adults, and that's a really good point because HGH what helps with fat loss, right? So go ahead and finish getting into this, but that's a very good point.
Yeah. So, human growth hormone, essential regulator of growth, all that good stuff. Glucagon like peptide 1, which is GLP-1, have been shown to exert pleiotropic effects, including stimulation of the activity of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, exerts metabolic effects. We hypothesize that they may also affect the secretion of GH, and they examined it. And I'm not going to get into let's not get into the whole study, but let's go to the results. Administration of a single dose of exenatide, which is the one I've never heard of, one caused a clear increase in GH levels, peaking between 60 and 120 minutes post-administration. There was also a small, statistically significant decrease in luteinizing hormone and testosterone levels after 120 minutes. Administration of the long-acting GLP liraglutide daily for 21 days elicited an increased GH levels with no change in IGF in concentrations after 3 weeks of treatment. The results of the administration of GLP may elicit an increase in growth hormone levels. GLP-1 signaling may be a novel mechanism of regulation of GH secretion. This finding needs to be replicated. So that's pretty interesting. And you know what I was thinking? I'll hear what your thoughts are. I was thinking, dude, semaglutide or any of these would be like phenomenal for like bodybuilders, like when they're like, getting into those final weeks of prep. And if they also increase growth hormone, that would just be the icing on the cake. So they wouldn't be hungry, their blood sugar would be lower, they'd have high GH. So that's pretty interesting. They're interesting medications.
Yeah, I was just looking up that exenatide or whatever, however you say that, and only has a short plasma half-life of 2.4 hours.
Wow.
And an action time of 8 hours, right? So where liraglutide has, I think, a 24-hour half-life, an active life or something like that. So that's kind of interesting. Also, when we were looking at this, I was thinking of, because what does the GLP-1 do? Right? It affects I think it's the Leydig cells and not the Leydig cells. I was thinking about my testosterone levels there for a second. Clearly, so it affects, I think, the beta cells around the pancreas, the increts or something like that, an incretin agonist or something is what they're called, and it like helps protect them as well as potentially like making them more efficient at producing insulin. And one of the effects of them is it slows down gastric emptying, but also increases like the satiety. Like what?
Yeah.
What's that? What is that word? Like sensation of being feeling full.
I hate that word. It's like satiety and like you're satiated. That's a dumb word.
Yeah. Okay. So satiation or whatever it is, right? Okay. So what's another thing that is kind of related to hunger and feeling hungry that is different than satiation or leptin levels?
Ghrelin?
Yeah. So I wonder if they have any studies on GLP-1s related to ghrelin, right? Because what do we know about ghrelin? Well, hexarelin, MK677, ipamorelin, GHRP2, GHRP6. These are all ghrelin agonists. So I wonder. I want to look this up. I want you to talk about something for a second. I'm going to try to look this up and see if I can see something, because that would be very interesting. If you have a GLP-1 and it's an agonist on the ghrelin receptor, then you have it's probably a partial, right? But you could have a partial agonist on the ghrelin receptor that increases HGH, which is interesting. But go ahead, talk about something for a second. I'm going to try to find that.
Just a heads up, where you were just a second ago, like your mic is pretty directional. Like if where you were just there a second ago, it sounded perfect. And then when you just got a little bit over, like it got like kind of muffled and louder. I don't know. It's crazy how these new mics, and if you guys are watching, I have one of these mics. It's like you'd think for fucking $200, this thing should be able to like pick up sound from everywhere, but they're very directional. It's weird.
So is it good here?
That one's a little muffled. So move your head a little bit other way.
The side over here.
That's a little better. That right there is perfect.
Oh, that's interesting. I tried to mute it when I went to move it, because when people listen to it and I move the mic and I'm talking, they say it's extremely loud and uncomfortable. But go ahead and talk about something. I'm going to see if I can find something really quick on a GLP-1.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Tony Hughes' YouTube channel recently, and he's been really ramping up the content. He's been putting out some really, really good content, and I like Tony. I think he's a really nice guy. So go check out Tony Hughes' YouTube channel on YouTube and check it out. But he did a whole video on insulin, and it was really interesting. He was really going about, and the reason this ties in is because the semaglutide and these GLP-1 agonists, they kind of prompt the pancreas to produce more insulin, which in turn lowers your blood sugar. But what he was saying, and I've always kind of commonly thought this too. I'm like, if these bodybuilders are taking insulin, they're fucking up their insulin sensitivity and they're messing with all this. And he actually made an interesting point saying that, like, not everyone, but if you're a bodybuilder and, bodybuilders have to eat a lot of carbs. He says, if you're taking, a normal amount of insulin, like 1 to 3 IUs before like a big carb meal, he's like, you're actually you're giving the pancreas a little bit of a break. You're not making it produce all this huge amount of insulin to do this. So, your pancreas is going to last longer. It's going to work better because you're not, taxing it so much, because you're giving it exogenous insulin to keep your blood sugar normal. And I was like, that's a really interesting way to think about it. I've never messed with insulin, and I really don't, I have no reason to do it because I'm not a bodybuilder and I'm currently doing carnivore. But I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. And, people will be like, oh, if you're taking insulin, you're going to die, you're going to this and that. And I was like, kind of actually makes a good amount of sense in the right scenario if you're a bodybuilder, and obviously we're not doctors, so don't listen to us.
Yes. Okay. So thanks for sharing that. This is very interesting, and I feel like I'm glad I went down that rabbit hole. So I found a study here where this is, let me get to the top of the study. Glucagon-like peptide 1 interacts with ghrelin and peptin, which is, also related to hunger and satiation or whatever. Regulate glucose metabolism and food intake through vagal something signaling. And in this, they go through and they talk about how GLP-1s actually affect ghrelin. So this is a quote from here. GLP-1 induces insulin secretion, which you just mentioned, and ghrelin attenuates the release. So I think is what they're saying. So the GLP-1 has a positive effect on insulin, and it attenuates ghrelin. Am I understanding that correctly? Is this how you would read it as well?
I'm not super familiar with the word attenuate.
It's reduce or impact or lower. So it says attenuate.
Oh shit! You already had this pulled up. I like it
because I was
reduce
like,
the force. Reduce the force. Interesting,
right? So if you look at this, it says GLP-1 induces insulin secretion and ghrelin attenuates, so it's reducing the impact of ghrelin. Right? Am I understanding that correctly, or is there something I'm missing here?
So let's just replace the word attenuate. So GLP-1 induces insulin secretion, and the ghrelin reduces the force of the release and increases blood glucose concentrations. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Some of these studies are like I said, like legal talk, where it's like double negatives and it's flipped. But there is evidence that there is an interaction between ghrelin and GLP to regulate the insulinotropic effects.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So I think that it might, I don't know if we have the direct data yet, but it might go through and actually affect ghrelin levels, which is what also MK677 does to increase HGH.
That is interesting. And I'm taking both of those right now. So that's like MK677's like, yo, give me some more ghrelin. And the semaglutide's like, nah, bitch, you ain't getting none of that. You're good.
Yeah. I do plan on starting a IGF-1 LR3 to test. And then I don't have. Oh, here actually I do. We only have a couple minutes left here, but this is Ace-031. So this is from Acceleron Pharma's Ace-031, increases lean body mass in phase 1 single dose clinical trial. So this was from the other day. Ace is a myostatin inhibitor, right? Myostatin limits the growth of muscles, right? That's where you always talk about the bulls or those dogs.
So is this like this is like a different YK11?
Yes. But this is done in humans. This one's done in humans. You know how there's barely any data with YK11?
Yeah.
This is in humans. So, and this is from a highlights from the other day. Ace-031 produced rapid, sustained, and dose-dependent increases in lean body mass and muscle volume, and bone formation, and positive biomarkers of fat mass. So basically, it helped reduce body fat, helped increase bone mineral density, helped increase muscle volume, so the size of that, and lean body mass. Like this is incredible, and this was from one dose.
Yeah, I'm going to take a wild stab and say this doesn't make it to FDA trials. It's too good for you,
bro. This is one dose. Imagine one dose, and you could put on muscle mass. One dose.
That's pretty sick. So
they had this study here. This is a single ascending dose study of muscle regulator Ace-031 in healthy volunteers. It was a double-blind placebo-controlled. They were looking for primary outcomes of safety, pharmacokinetics, and pharmacodynamics in 48 women, post-menopausal women. They gave a dose of, I think it was 0.2 milligrams per kg up to 3 milligrams per kg, right? So for a dude, that's 300 mil. Like for me, like say 105 kg or something like that. This is 300 milligrams roughly ish for a dose, right? At the top end, and 2 milligrams on the low end. Statistically significant increases in lean body mass. They gave him one dose. This is crazy. And thigh muscle volume were observed at day 29 in the 3 milligram per kg group. Statistically significant changes in serum biomarkers suggest ACE also improved the bone and minerals. So this was from a separate study than the first one I did. So this is like something that's extremely powerful. I have a couple more other highlights here. Research in mice indicates that maximal skeletal muscle growth can be attained with myostatin inhibitors like ACE. Furthermore, it appears that blockade of myostatin by multiple avenues is beneficial. So I saw that and I was like, you mentioned YK11, right? YK11 and ACE. The half-life on this thing is like, I think it was plus 2 days or something like that. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So think about being like they noticed this in the single dose one that I just talked about with women. The results were observed after 29 days.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Like this is like YK11 mixed with Deca, like as far as half-life. Like that's insane. Now is this considered, because I know YK11 is grouped into the SARM category because it's sold as a research chemical, but I know that what's his name? SARM's Info on Instagram. And if you're not following SARM's Info, he puts out a lot of really good information. So go check him out. Big shout out. Really nice guy. Talked to him a few times. But he was saying that YK11 is closer to a steroid than it is to a SARM. And I can't remember the exact reason why, but he compared it similarly to Tren. So is this, I don't know. I could be wrong on the comparing it to Tren, but I think so. Is this, I mean, does it mention, is this a pill, 300 milligrams, or are they pinning this?
So this is a pin. It's a synthetic protein made up, so a peptide, right? It's made up of activin.
What's it called? Ace-103?
Ace-013. I'm sorry, 031. Activin receptor type 2B and immunoglobulin. It binds to the myostatin and related proteins within muscle, rendering them inactive. So it has the effect on myostatin to make it inactive inside the muscle. Like, it's super duper fucking expensive, but because I already looked at the price for myself. But like, what if
$175 for 1 milligram?
Right. So, but and remember the dose, the one that we just looked at was on the low side. It was 2 milligrams for 100 kg dude. So somebody that's my size, roughly. So 2 milligrams per. But think about this: 2 milligrams per month, right? Would be $350 per month, right? Yeah. Like, if you could get it cheaper than that, I think that the lower dose over a longer period of time, I don't think you necessarily need the 300 milligrams.
Yeah, like it's cool that you could do it once, but you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And then what if you because you like, imagine the effect of like a dude taking 300 milligrams of this thing for like you do it every week, or like if you did it every 2 weeks, it's like kind of like with the half-life, right? Every 2 weeks for like 6 months, like you would probably fuck something up. To have this is so that powerful, right? From one dose, like you probably
that study seems crazy though. Like, why such a huge variance in the dosage? You know, that's like if they were doing this with Tylenol, we're like, all right, we'll give you 500 milligrams, and then the other group we're going to give you 50,000 milligrams. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if the 300 milligrams is oral and the 3 milligrams would be pin. There's no way they're paying someone 300 times in a row.
It was injected. Let's see here.
Yeah, because I saw it's considered a peptide, so it is injectable. It's just 300 milligrams. Just seems like crazy for this compound, at least.
Well, so they what they were looking for was safety. So that's probably why in this study, the first thing, one of the primary outcomes was they were looking for safety, right? So if you get fucked up at 300 milligrams, and that's probably not
yeah. Word is that Ronnie Coleman was actually the first person in this study.
Oh, really? You're just making this shit up, or is that real?
Making shit up. That's crazy though, and that's because myostatin is a very powerful pathway. I mean, you look at those Dutch blues or whatever they are, the bulls. I mean, they look like bodybuilders that are cows, and they don't even try.
And think about this, dude. We have the androgen receptor like taken care of, right? We have SARMs, we have lots of different steroids, right? So there's like the androgen receptor, cool, we got that down, right? You've got plenty of fucking different shit for taking care of the androgen receptor.
Yep.
HGH, again, we have a boatload of different options for HGH, whether it's actual HGH, whether it's like there's like 20 different fucking peptides for HGH, right? So we have that side down. You know what side we don't have down? Is myostatin.
There's the myostatin follistatin like relationship where they both try to keep each other in check.
Yeah. Okay. So now think about this, right? Because the follistatin, what is it? The follistatin 344. I've never seen anything positive about that in any reviews or anything like that. But check this out. Research it, because like there's people who care to lift heavy weights, right? Like some people really enjoy lifting heavy weights. It's not something I necessarily do because I prefer more hypertrophy training, but research in mice indicates that Ace-031 can improve force generating capacity in muscle tissue, in part by preserving energy supply and shifting muscle thermodynamics towards oxidative respiration. And so like the effect of this is not like by doing, there's something we were talking about recently that increased mitochondrial function to raise ATP levels. And that's energy.
Red light therapy, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. Red light therapy, right? So red light therapy increases ATP, right? Or thus energy. So what it's saying is in part by preserving energy supply. So it's not even creating more energy, but it's actually shifting the thermodynamics and increasing oxidative respiration. So how I understand oxidative respiration is like increase in oxygen, right? And what do we talk about? I think it was this episode. You need fucking oxygen in form of fresh blood, right?
Yeah.
You can think of fresh blood as oxygen because without that, you're fucking dead. In the mice, administration of Ace-031 improved maximum and total contractile force by 40 and 25% respectively. You know how people use holostatin, or what's that steroid that's like
Halotestin.
Halotestin right before like a meet to lift heavy weights. Bro, they could use something like this in conjunction with that to stack, increasing your force production by like 40%. Like
that's a cool compound. I'm going to look into that. Not that I'm going to like take it, but I just think the research on that would be fucking amazing. I mean, it's never going to make it. It's never going to make it to become a medicine because it actually works and it does good shit. Can you imagine juicing up grandma with 1 milligram and within a month she's just fucking jacked out of her mind?
No, awesome. Imagine dudes taking like a gram of that.
Oh, they will. Someone will.
But like, and they're spent like Liver King, right? And you spent like 20 grand a month, and you go from a fat blob to like, holy shit, this dude's got a 6-pack. Because what does it say? Increase muscle mass, decrease fat mass, increase bone mineral density, right? Like, and what is increase in muscle and a decrease in fat also have a side effect of? Your increased muscle means that your body mass index tends to go up, right? Because you need more calories with more muscle, which also then has a positive effect on your blood sugar levels, which has a positive effect on your insulin sensitivity. Like it just has like all these other benefits to it by having more muscle. I don't know. I was like, this compound's fucking super interesting. We should have started off the episode with that. Actually,
how many bottles did you buy?
Yeah, 175 times 10. I figure if I get 2 per month.
Well, shit. Well, speaking about calories, I think we probably round this out, and I need to get some calories. But before we go, we're trying to grow this, guys. We really enjoy doing this. We're trying to 10x this in 90 days. So if you're still with us, A, you're fucking awesome. B, if you could just click on the plus sign, the thumbs up, the star, share it with someone, we would definitely appreciate it because we're trying to get this to the masses. So thank you guys for your support. We love you. You're awesome. I'll let Sam take us out.
We have about 1,900 listens over the last period that we just checked, and 10x that would be 19,000. And 90 days is mid to end of May. So the only way we're going to be able to actually do that is with your help. So leaving a review or subscribing would be super appreciated. And you're fucking awesome. We will see you guys in the next episode number 53. Peace.